Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Chrissy. I am a 23-year-old transgender female. If you are new to my channel, I just kind of talk about my transition here. I kind of share my beauty products. I talk about a lot of other personal mental issues going on, just to help people out that are struggling with the same thing. So today I'm actually going to do a transgender Q&A. So I have received some questions from Facebook and Twitter, kind of about my transition throughout the last couple of months, and I put them together on a list, and I'm actually going to answer them today. So I'm super excited to do that. So I'm just going to dive right into them. So the first question I got was, what does it mean to be transgender? So in my words, and usually in the definition, transgender is when you're born biologically with a gender that you don't identify with. So I was born biologically male, and throughout my childhood, throughout my adulthood, I really didn't feel like a male. I knew my true identity was always female. So I began the journey of, going on hormones and presenting as a female publicly. And a lot of the time people mistake and think that your transition starts with hormones. And a lot of trans women and trans men aren't on hormones, whether it be insurance reasons or whatever. So it doesn't, just because you're on hormones, that's not the start of your transition. A lot of people, I started my transition before hormones. I presented female in public and I wasn't on estrogen yet. So for everybody, it's different. My definition is just that I was born a boy and I'm not a boy, I'm a girl. So that's my definition. So the next question is, how did you discover you were transgender? So as a child, I always used to make, this is like a funny example, I always used to make my shorts and boy shorts and shirts into skirts and blouses, and my parents thought it was very odd. I was coloring my nails with Crayola markers, just stuff like that. And that's because I was crying out. I wanted to, be released as a female. I wanted to be showing my true identity. And so, that's how it started. And then I got into my teenage years and that kind of went away for a little bit. I kind of put that on the back burner. And with that, I think the depression came because I was very sad that I couldn't live my truth. I had a lot of girlfriends, and watching them go through puberty and the dating thing, it really upset me because that was supposed to be me. So I really discovered I was transgender, what that meant and how I can fix it, when Caitlyn Jenner came out as trans. That was a big skeptical, and that was around the time that I was suffering with gender dysphoria, knowing I was a girl but not knowing how to go about it, thinking people weren't going to accept me, etc. So when Caitlyn came out as trans, it was the first time that I could gauge the public's reaction and gauge my family's reaction and see how everything like that would go. And so a lot of my family had questions about it. They weren't super accepting, and so it was kind of a dark period because my family would make jokes about her, and I was like, well, if I do that, they're going to disown me and make jokes about me. So that was probably the darkest period, because I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm not going to have the support. I'm not going to be able to even go do it with insurance. So that's when I really just hit my rock bottom. And that made me discover that I was transgender. So that answers that question. The next question is, what was your lowest point that made you want to transition? So my lowest point, I was depressed for about 3 years, severely depressed. I wasn't eating. I had severe anxiety. I developed a stomach ulcer from anxiety about worrying about if I'm going to transition and how I'm going to live the rest of my life and how I'm going to do this, and just hating my body in the mirror, hating my body getting dressed, even the feeling of being in my body, so many things. And I would say the summer of 2017 was the worst. I don't know, because the summer of 2015 was when I finished puberty, and I was a handsome male. I was a very handsome male, and I would get compliments and I would get flirted with, and that made me crawl inside, want to crawl out of my skin, because I was like, this isn't me. Why are people, that's like a woman's, a woman being people are calling me handsome and women are flirting with me if they're not attracted to women. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't want to sound ignorant about it, but it's if you are a certain gender and people are calling you the opposite gender, people are hitting on you in a way because they enjoy your gender, that's gonna make you squirm inside. And that's what happened to me. So I just didn't eat. I was very depressed. And then I started dressing more feminine because I'm like, I'm not gonna look like a boy. I'm not gonna look like, you know, a masculine person. I started dressing more feminine. I started wearing makeup. That made me feel a little bit better, but then I still had an emptiness and I was like, dude, this is just like brutal. So right before I came out, I kind of was just drinking every night. I was just miserable, and I don't know, I didn't want to wake up every day. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. It was torture, talking to people. I couldn't even talk to people. My parents were like, what's going on with you? Like, you never talk to us. Like, you're just up here. You're like a computer. You don't even have a conversation with us. And so that was like my darkest point. So, who was the first person you told you were trans to? How did they react? The first person that I came out to was my mother. I was in class and I was just getting this overwhelming feeling of needing to get something off my chest, get this entire thing started off my chest, because I couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't focus on school. I couldn't focus on my friendships, anything. So I called her and I just was like, you know, Mom, like, there's something I want to tell you, and I'm uncomfortable. And she's like, what are you uncomfortable about? I'm like, just my body. And she's like, what do you mean? Like, you weight wise, like, what are you talking about? I was just like, I'm uncomfortable. Like, I'm just uncomfortable in my skin. And she's like, can you explain to me, like, what do you mean? And I kept hinting, and she finally said, like, do you want to be a woman? Because I was dressing like a woman at that time, wearing makeup, and I started bawling my eyes out in my car. You know, I just lost it, and I, you know, begged for her to understand, and she cried a lot, and she did understand, and she said, you know, this is life, and this is what we're gonna do to get through it. And you know, she actually accepted me on the spot. She was nervous about telling my dad, and so it was very, it was a relief to get off my chest, but it was one of the scariest things I've ever had to do. What was a big milestone for you that thus far in your transition? Big milestone, I think, was when I started wearing wigs. That was, looking back, I was so scared about it, and I was so brave for doing that. Because it was obviously a wig, and I was just, I don't know, I was uncomfortable with it, and I was afraid people were looking at me, and now I just give myself so much credit because I've come so far. You know, I've grown my hair to an extent. I have extensions, but whatever. That was a big milestone. It doesn't seem like a lot to other people, but it was a big move for me because it, I don't know, it just was. Made me feel female. Have you lost loved ones over your decision to transition? I wouldn't say loved ones if I lost them. I've lost friends, a couple friends. I wouldn't say lost. Well, one I did lose, but a couple I drifted severely from. I don't think it was from my transition. I don't know what it was from, but you know, friends change. People move on from friendships, and that's kind of what it was. You know, I did have one close friend that didn't really. We got in an altercation. I was at a sensitive point, and I was upset that people were calling me he, even if they were making a mistake. So I was just insecure, and there was miscommunication, and so we aren't friends anymore. But I mean, what are you gonna do? It's life, happens. What are your next steps in your transition? My next big goals, I hope to get bottom surgery within the year. That's a huge goal of mine. I really was thinking about facial feminization surgery. I don't know if I need it. I just, certain angles of my face I'm kind of not a fan of. So that might be in the cards. I also want to get this, I don't know if this is related to my transition, probably not. I want to get my body done. I want to get my fat transferred. I don't like the way my body is stacked. Like, it feels like I have breasts, and then I have a stomach, and then I have tiny legs. And so I would like to take my stomach fat and put it in my thighs, in my butt. That's just what I like to do. And then I also want to get my breasts done. I want to get a C cup. Cheers. All right. So that's all the questions. I hope you guys enjoyed my answers, and I hope you enjoyed this video. Please come back, because I will be doing a lot more videos, and put in the comments what you want me to do. Love you guys.